I think it's good to touch on the mental health thing because I think our reactions lets us know where we are mentally. And if there is some tuning up that needs to be done, we need to do it. Get the help we needed, if needed. And also making sure that we make amends for things that we've done that are, that offend anyone,
Yeah, guys. So, again, we may do a part 2 to this. I don't know.
Yes.
But, guys. All right, guys. Welcome to the Spice Life. And, guys, we told you we was going to do a part 2, and that's what we're going to do. As usual, we're going to talk about or continue to address the mental health challenges that we have to deal with. And part 2 is kind of related to a snippet of information that I'm going to play for you in relations to what Chaka Khan, she had an issue with something Kanye West did. So,
right.
Surprise.
Yes.
But Angela, you got something?
Yes, I do. Okay, guys. Please, if you haven't already, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, our podcast channel. If you have not subscribed to the podcast, please do. It's on Podbean, and it's in the link below, in the description, or in the bio, or in the comments. All right. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitch, Twitter, and TikTok. And we also have a website, guys. We have a website. It's called we're at www.spiceolife.com. Back to you, Chris.
Okay, so here's the comment that was made.
Well, have you heard from Kanye since? I'm curious to know.
I'm not looking to hear from Kanye either. No, I've not heard from him, and I'm not looking to hear from him. No. That's what he did. That's what he did with his music, I was, I was upset about sounding like a chipmunk, but, that, because he didn't put that when he asked, could he sample my song, he didn't mention that he was going to speed it up. 3 times. It's normal speed. Had he, I would have had something to say. But since I didn't think of that, believe me, I think of it now. I said, well, how are we going to do this?
Well, thanks for music.
All right, so there you go.
Yep.
All of a sudden, and this is very recently, it wasn't a year ago, it wasn't 6 months. Chaka has a issue or concern because her voice was sped up from an album that it was one of Kanye West's first album, like the solo. He was coming and debuting himself, and I think he had been doing music and helping behind the scenes before he was known and started his own thing, started doing his own music. But anyway, and that hook through the wire.
Yes, through the wire.
He has an issue, and she has an issue. But
her song is Through the Fire,
and his is Through the Wire.
Through the Wire.
Through the Wire, right?
You gotta sound like a chipmunk when you say Through the Wire.
Right. So.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So there you go.
All right. So basically, with this, my take on this is the fact, because I'm just now hearing about the chipmunk thing, that she had a issue with him speeding the song up. I did not know that Chaka Khan had issues with the chip. Well, she says chipmunk. I didn't even realize it. You know what I'm saying? She said chipmunk. I said it just sounded like it sped up, which he has a faster song than she does. He has a faster song than she does. So of course, and that's what people do. That's what the rap artists do, or the hip hop artists. They're going to speed the song up. So with that take, I wonder if she had a problem with that. And of course, guys, this is my first time even hearing about this recently. I looked up information and saw the fact that she actually performed with him on stage at one of the award shows. That song, she was singing it. on the stage with him. I didn't watch the whole thing, but I just, was looking at, because it was part of a news clip it. But she was on stage with him singing the song. If she didn't like it, you would never know. And why would she be on the stage, sing in the background of that song if she didn't like it? She had a problem with it.
Right. Yeah, something to think about. So, with that in mind, it begs it. So, another thing we were talking about. So, Khalees, she's an artist too. She had a song she had an issue with Beyonce and all that, and then Beyonce removed the song. That was her response. So, thinking about that, knowing Kanye West's history, will you think this issue caused him to have some kind of response? And if he does respond, how would it affect him? Would it affect him in any way? Because again, he's a big advocate and talks about a lot of mental health challenges and how real it is, and try to bring levity and try to just bring bring it to the forefront with people. He didn't have a problem with talking about it, whereas a lot of people, especially in our culture, do.
Yeah, that's true. I think people gonna make a big deal out of it because it's Kanye. It's Kanye. If he say anything about or respond to Chaka. So if I were him, I wouldn't respond to it. I mean, that song was made a long time ago. They made plenty of money, still making money off that song. He has no reason to even respond. We all know. And we all know and saw, or some of us, I shouldn't say we all, that she performed the song with him. And that is a successful song.
Yeah, it's a really good song.
Right, and it's done and over with, so he don't need to
both
say
of them
anything
won.
about it.
Her version was successful.
Yes.
And for his generation time, and then when he came out during that time, it was successful. So it was a win-win.
Well, I'm gonna say this: Chaka Khan has a beautiful voice. Even when he sped up that song, it was still beautiful. Mm-hmm. You can't mess that voice up. I mean, it was beautiful, and that song is successful because of her, because of her voice. She just has one of those unique voices. So I think that she really don't have anything to worry about in regards to the chipmunk voice.
So the topic we were talking about is how can it impact us? And we're talking again about health-related things, but then in particular, this particular segment or this particular episode, we're referring to mental health. Some people don't think that it applies to them at all.
Yes, true.
So let me ask you this: do you remember a time, or can you recall a time where it may have directly affected you?
Mental health. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. So when you experience challenges in life, it could be death in the family, it could be a move, it could be just work, it could be anything. The one that's affected me really hard is when you have the death of the family of a close, someone very close to you. We lost our child. That was devastating to me, our first child. So that affected my mental health. And I would like to say this too, because if I know, that I was young, I was young, but if I'd known what I know today, I would have really got some help, some professional help, because when you lose a child, she was, granted she was an infant, but still there are emotions and things that you have to deal with when you're talking about, a first-time mother losing a baby, and having the right help there to kind of guide you in the right direction and not have you thinking that it's your fault or thinking that there was more that you could have done to prevent it. So that was a lot that I went through that I just dealt with by myself. So that was a challenge for me, huge. It was huge. So, and I still deal with it today. That's something you never get past. But yeah, the death of our first child was a severe traumatic experience for me.
Yeah, I was just thinking about, up until very recently, just the word itself, mental health, was a taboo word.
Yes.
And what's so funny is not even anything negative about it, because it's a statement almost. It's not good or bad. It's a statement. And then how something affects you, your mental, like all of us have to look at our health, right?
Right.
And then you split it and you say, okay, look at our physical health. Now,
Right.
why? It's funny how you say, okay, look at our physical health. You don't hear people say, ooh, physical. You be like, yeah, man, for sure, physical health. But then again, certain situations, you say, oh, I need to look at my mental health. You okay? No. Why is it in certain situations, it's like, it gets into, it's almost like something's wrong. And it's gotten less like. The good thing about it as time goes by, people are more used to it. But you have to be able to say it out loud. You have to be able to vocalize it.
That's true.
And then start addressing it, not in a negative way or not to be mean or not to use it as a crutch. But the reality of anybody's honest with themselves,
Yes.
they have to look at that situation because it's the health of your mind.
Yes, that's true.
Just like you're concerned about the health of your body.
Yes. Yes.
So most minds are challenges of overthinking or thinking about something that has bothered me too long. So yeah, of course I was impacted by our daughter, but I'm thinking about just recent things,
Yes.
and it's little things. That's the way I can't speak for everybody else, but for me, it can be a little issue, right? And then I'll be like, oh man, yeah, yada, 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 I feel this way. The challenge comes for me is being able to move that away now. What'll happen is that it'll come back. And then I'm even more a little, depending on my stresses or anxiety, I'm a little even more bothered. So this is where I say, me, again, speaking for myself, you have to, okay, that's all those processes was normal up until now. Why are you coming back with it? Because it's not something that needs to be apologized for by you or anyone else. It's not something you can even sometimes do anything about at the moment. And it's not helping you feel good physically or mentally. So why is that coming back? So this is when I say that's the check part. Because once you start asking yourself those questions, you start having that conversation, you'll start with reason in your mind. If you're a reasonable person, you'll start letting it go away. Because you realize, Chris, so-and-so, Angela, whoever you are, is no need to keep this thing here right now. It's not doing anybody any good, and more importantly, it's not doing you any good. So that's where you start the check at. Now, again, you consult physicians, you got a professional, you got someone, you got your person you check in with, or some professional you talk. That's great. All those are great. You continue to do it. Make sure you take care. But in the end, in any situation, it is on us.
That's true.
It is on us. Does that make sense?
That makes a whole lot of sense. Also, I want to bring out too, you talk about mental health. The definition of mental health is it includes our emotional, psychological, social well-being that affects our thinking, our feelings, and our action. It also helps to determine how we handle stress, relate to others, make choices. And it is important at every stage of life, from childhood to adult, adolescence, whatever, for us to be in like a recovery. And there are 4 little aspects of that, or dimensions of recovery, which is health, home, purpose, and community. So there's a lot of things in recovery in those 4 dimensions that could help. So yeah, I totally agree.
And those are resolution, kind of things that Angela was talking about. Now, let's just go back again, doing these checks and it's about figuring ourselves out. So then you ask yourself, what is it that can cause, because it's always connected. What I just gave you a demonstration of is almost not even the beginning. It's near the beginning, but not quite the beginning. You dig a little deeper. I'll give you another example. You dig a little deeper and you'll find that we create our own negative side of the mental health. We create our own stressors without trying, because we're just so used to certain things going a certain way. So let's say, for instance, I'm trying to do something, right? And my son comes in and say, oh, hey dad, could you do this? Now, something I'm doing right at that moment to me in my mind is important. He may see me on the phone thinking I ain't doing nothing but being on the phone. And then I'll say, oh, yeah, I got you. Okay. And I'll go and help. But now, because I didn't express, hey, let me look at this, let me take care of this, and then I move, I got you. I created my own stressor because in my mind, I'm like, well, this person is bothering me or rushing me or trying to get me to do something. And they don't even realize in my mind I'm doing something important. See, I'm creating a mental issue, a health issue, and have angst and anxiety. And the person usually, y'all know this, don't even know that they were in that narrative that we just created for ourselves.
Right.
But we'll think it's on them.
Right. So I think during that time too, you have to practice like situational things. What would you do if you you've discovered that about you, So what you have to do is, hey, if this happens again, what will I do next time to make it better? For example, if I know that, let's say if I am bothered or I get short tempered, if I am interrupted, which I know a lot of people get, upset when you're interrupted, but still that's not a good way to respond.
No,
because you're not making the situation better, but that is involving an emotion that is not, that's quick. That's not, you're not thinking about it.
Well, you know what happens, right?
Yeah, it creates more problems.
Well, just to say it doesn't help. What the person will do, and I'll say me,
Right.
They become passive aggressive. They're like, oh, okay, yeah, I got you. But within that, if a person is really watching, they observe that, no, something is a little off. And most don't, especially when you're dealing with younger people. And you thinking, okay, they'll get it.
Yes.
But first, why don't you just say it? Why don't you just say, hey, listen, I'm trying, why don't you just, instead of trying to be passive aggressive or act like someone has done some injustice to you and they got the power and ability to know what you're thinking and feeling and knew what you was doing, just say, hey, yeah, absolutely, let me do this. But even though, like Angela said, that's what you're supposed to say, how do you know, when does that start to kick in, I guess, to do that?
That's something that has to be practiced.
Right.
And you have to have patience as well. So, and then too, it also depends on the spectrum that you're on in regards to how you are mentally. Because some people, like I said, will have to have medication. They're on a different level mentally, which means that they require additional help to kind of get them in that, in that sweet spot, so to say.
Yeah.
But, for folks that can manage that on their own, it requires patience. It requires you to just stop and just back up and just like, hey, let me not respond
Right.
right at this time, because right now I'm here and I need to be a little bit lower, because if I do respond then I'll be sorry for my actions. How I react to this person, because I'm upset. They make me upset. And also keep in mind too, you talk about a situation like that person does not even know that they caused you.
That's what I was saying earlier, yeah.
Yeah, they don't. And I'm just saying, so to speak. So you're adding fuel to something that, don't even need to be, doesn't even need to be that way, because that person's probably already apologetic. So
Depends on the person.
yeah, depends on the person
and how they
but
feel.
mostly someone would, be apologetic already because they didn't mean to do it anyway. But they're probably getting upset with you because you got upset. So let's not make the situation worse than what it is or what it was.
Which is another whole subject, apologies. That's probably another whole thing we'll talk about. But sometimes, and here's another thing. So we're talking about ways to resolve. Sometimes we do. So I hear you talk about a lot of self-care. We all have to do it or try to find ways to do it, and some needs more than others, and all that thing. Sometimes what you look for, or what we seek, is that comfort from our mates,
Right.
to help us with some of the, not to say that they're supposed to fix us, but those are the ones, because they love you or you care about them, both of y'all care about each other, so you're looking for some kind of comfort. Here's the question, or the challenge I would say to everybody is, what if you're looking for comfort from a person, but the experience that you're expressing to them is connected to them? How can that, this is where it's important, how can that person that may look at themselves as a third party, even if they're in that part of the story or that whatever's going on with this person. In order to help, you have to look at the third party. The question is, how can you do that and help your mate or help that person that got you tied in there? You get what I'm saying? Because most people don't do that. They can't compartmentalize that.
That is hard.
Yeah.
Is one thing that is hard because you already in your feelings and your emotions already. So to be in a position where you're trying to help them, that person that got on your nerve, your spouse or your mate that's got on your nerve, and then you got to help them. That's hard.
And they may not, and that's the thing. Usually they're not going to, I mean, if they just coming at you and saying you got on a nerve, that's different. I'm talking about the person say, I'm just so stressed. And, you know, when you said this to me earlier and, you know, they're coming at you like that.
Okay. I see what you're saying.
It's
that's different.
Yeah, but if somebody come just straight at you sideways, that's different because it's like, no, they fussing at me. We about to have an argument, disagreement on this.
Yeah.
But what that can trigger is an argument because the person will take, usually the person, the mate or whoever will take, they won't even probably let you, you know, they're going to hear what they want to hear and then they will take what?
Action. Or they take offense. So I would say this in that regards. I think if they're asking for it, to me, it seems as though they're asking, you know, they're asking for your assistance and trying to understand something and trying to work. See, that's different than somebody coming yelling down your throat or telling you about yourself.
Right.
So in that regards, yeah, that's easy.
And they may not even mention you directly.
The best thing to do is to just, you know, be patient and just zip it. And just listening and hearing them and just stepping out the box and just listen and just be in their shoes while they're talking and try to understand from their point of view is the best thing to do because they are coming to you with a problem, with the issue, and they want it resolved. They want things to be better. So the best thing to do is to listen to them and try to come up with a situation, or you go back and forth in conversation and trying to help them see, you know, why things are the way they are.
You know what I found too is that usually if you do have someone, you know, with your mate or with your friend and you're trying to discuss it, but you're not maybe saying it to them directly, half the time or more than a majority of the time, like probably close to 90 to 95% of the time or more, the person is not even in that same thinking you are. They don't even realize it or know. And I think this truly the case. Somebody may say, no, they know. No, sometimes they don't. And even if they do, they're not attached or emotionally attached to that situation the way you are.
That's true.
So sometimes you're going to have to be okay with the fact that though, however you feel about it, you can try to turn it, twist it, fix it, force it, yell it, scream it, whisper it. That other human being is just right. Technologic. They're not going to feel exactly how you feel about it.
Yeah.
But at least if you're having a conversation and that helps you and you have to have it, you do that. But don't do it expecting them to turn around and say, you know what? Now I feel exactly how you feel. I feel your pain. If they have sympathy, that's great. Yeah. If they have man, I didn't know that. I'm sorry. Okay, good. Let's, we'll work it out and move forward. But don't try to go there and expect somebody to say, you know what, thank you for that. Now I'm in the same place as you. But at the same time, if you're being given that and you have to receive that, more than likely think about, okay, what can I'm not going to fix this situation. There's something I can sprinkle on it. What can I do to be a force for good? I'll try to guide this. And it could be, like you said, nothing. Yeah. It could be couple of words. Yeah. It could be, hey, let me go make you something. It could be something, but think of it like that. Don't overthink it. And then just try to move forward. The hardest out of the biggest thing, all of that though, is try not to personalize it, whatever they're saying. Because sometimes you think they talking about you and they're not.
That's true. And you want to be the peacemaker. You want for the person that has issue, you want them to be comfortable talking to you, and you want the issue, you want it to be resolved. So you're going to do your best to try to, come to a resolution on it.
Yeah. So guys, just continue to think of ways to cope, think of ways you can help, think of ways you can take care of yourself. There's nothing wrong with consulting a physician.
Yes.
And then realize that there's always going to be differences, cultural differences, gender related, all kind of differences in us as humans. Things that someone may be emotional about. We were just talking about the other episode ago about how the Wakanda trailer was like, oh, you see some people like, oh, I can't believe-" and then you got some people that's stoic.
Yeah.
They watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was good, man. So everybody has different emotional reactions to things. We just not gonna always react the same way. And it doesn't mean a person don't care. It doesn't mean people don't care in life.
That's true.
Yeah. So, you got some final thoughts on this?
Yeah, I totally agree with you and what you say. So, and one major thing, like I want to reiterate, if you need professional help in things that you're dealing with, it does not mean that you're crazy. It's just that you are smart about yourself and knowing, hey, I know when I can't handle, I can't handle this, I need some help. And when you get that help, you're going to be a lot better. You'll be in a lot better situation. Help you to resolve whatever issues that you're going through. And mental health, it covers a range of things, a range of items.
Yeah.
We all have mental health issues. We all do. Everybody do. We're imperfect. So, there'll be times that you're going through stuff. It could be situational that you just, hey, at this moment, I need to talk to someone professional. I don't know how to deal with this, so and also if there's somebody you have a friend or whatever you can talk to, do that, so you don't want to make it worse than what it is. Like I said, I wish I had gone to get help in regards to our losing our first child, and I didn't, but that doesn't, I kind of make my situation prolong and be worse than what I should have gone through because of the stress. But hey, what's done is done.
The deed is done.
Yes.
So, brother, it's morning, noon, night, evening, guys. You take care of yourself, take care of your physical, your mental. Try to be cool and just enjoy the rest of your night or your day.
Yes.
And we're going to do another one. I want to talk about apologies and stuff like that.
Yes.
But regardless, guys, enjoy it, and we'll see you next time. This is Chris on the Spice Life.
Right. Bye-bye.